All right, let's shift gears. Let's go to the SEC where there is still a title to be decided. It comes down to Auburn winning against South Carolina, which, they should, but they've had some struggles recently. They haven't been as sharp. They just went to overtime at Ole Miss or at Mississippi State, excuse me. Had a couple losses earlier there, but they are back at home, Sean, and Auburn has been unbeatable at home this year. So is this going to be just the title is settled as soon as the Tigers are done and we don't have to worry about the Kentucky game and the Tennessee game? Do you think Auburn takes care of business?
Yeah, I can't imagine Auburn's going to lose this game at home. You look at some of the struggles they've had, like you said, most of them came on the road. They don't lose very often at home. And while South Carolina's been a lot better than people have expected, I would say they're 18-11. That's pretty impressive. 9-8 in league play. They've beaten some solid teams. They beat LSU a number of weeks ago, but I just can't see them competing on the offensive end. They're going to have to make this a defensive game. And I think Auburn will have too many scoring options for them to be able to score points. Jabari Smith should have a big game, but that's something I want to see. How can Jabari Smith get the ball often? Because that's been a question for them all year. They have guards, but a lot of them like to take shots first, like KD Johnson and Wendell Green. I want to see Auburn find ways to get Jabari Smith the basketball because he's going to be the first pick in the NBA draft more than likely. And you look at the end of the game against Mississippi State the other day, he got the ball with like 2 seconds left and had it thrown up from 25 feet within the final seconds. You need to find a way to get him the ball in good spots for Auburn to be as good as they can be.
Yeah, I think it's probably, Auburn's a huge favorite in that game. They're probably going to take care of business. But Ace, let's imagine with me, the Tigers go down. They can't get it done against the Gamecocks. That leaves Kentucky with a game at Florida to potentially tie for the title. And then Tennessee hosting Arkansas, the winner of that game would tie for the title. So 2 questions. Do you think Kentucky wins at Florida, which has been a tough place to play? The Gators did knock off Auburn there. And then who wins that Tennessee-Arkansas showdown of 2 teams that are lurking potentially for a title as well?
Yeah. For some reason, I don't know why, I have a weird feeling that Florida's going to get a win over Kentucky. I don't know why. I don't know why I feel this way, but like you mentioned earlier, I mean, they beat Auburn at home earlier in the year, and people kind of give this Florida team a bad rep. Like, yes, they have the bad losses early, but I think it's something about being able to play meaningful basketball in March. And obviously, this team is fighting for their tournament lives. Right now, they're probably on the outside looking in, and a win over Kentucky would be the win that could potentially put them on the inside of the bubble. So I think, Mike White is somebody who I respect as a coach. People, have been not too high on him as of late for some reason. But I think Florida team, with the athletes that they have and the potential that they can cause on the defensive side of the ball, I think they can potentially be able to not slow down, not stop Oscar Tshiebwe, but maybe slow him down and keep him off the glass. Obviously, you have Colin Castleton, you have Ant DeRougie, who's super athletic. I think that they can, neutralize him to a certain degree and be able to feed off of that home crowd and be able to potentially, win a game that can put them on the right side of the bubble if they can potentially get that win. So the basketball guys are speaking to me in that one. And as far as Arkansas, Tennessee goes, I think I'm going to go with Arkansas. Man, this team has been playing outstanding basketball. They dropped their first 3 games in SEC play, but since then they've been almost unbeatable. They've won 5 straight games at the head of this weekend, man, and they're playing great basketball, man. So obviously Tennessee is also playing well right now. Have won 3 straight, and one of those streaks is going to come to an end. But I think if I had to put my money on one of those teams, I think it will be on Arkansas right now, just because of the momentum that they've been able to build over the past month or so.
All right, Sean, you're getting the Big 12, but I want to ask Tennessee or Arkansas, who wins that game?
I'm going to go Tennessee because they're at home. They've been able to beat Arizona at home. They've been able to beat Kentucky at home. They've been able to beat Auburn at home. I think the 6-point spread is a little much. I don't think it'll be a 6-point game. I think it'll be a 2 or 3-point game, but I think that Tennessee will be able to win at home.
Yep, undefeated at home, but yeah, that is a little bit of a big number. Arkansas has not been, their only losses by 1. Like that team hasn't lost by more than 6 in a long time. Yeah. All right, so let's talk Big 12 because Kansas and Baylor are both tied atop the league. They both have home games to clinch a share. I would say Kansas's game is a little bit tougher, though. They're hosting Texas. Baylor's hosting Iowa State, who can be feisty as an underdog. Sean, let's start with you. Which one of these games are you looking at most? And do you think both of these teams take care of business and share the title?
I think that's what we're going to end up seeing. I haven't been impressed by Texas this year. I know they beat Kansas early in the year in Austin. Courtney Ramey did a great job defensively on Ochai Agbaji that game. He really shut him down late in that game. But what it comes down to for me is I still think Marcus Carr needs to be the go-to guy if Texas is going to go anywhere. Right now, they look like a 5 seed that's going to be really vulnerable to most 12 seeds because they just can't put the ball in the basket consistently. They have the talent. They have the coaching. Just hasn't meshed the way that I was hoping it would. I had them top 3 in the preseason. They just haven't looked that way. The metrics still like them quite a bit. I just haven't seen it, and I've watched a good amount of them. It just doesn't look like a top 20 team, doesn't look like a top 25 team. Just haven't seen it consistently going into a tough environment. I can't see them going and winning that game, maybe keeping it competitive because of how good their defense is. But at the end of the day, I think Kansas's offense will be a little too much for them.
Kansas hasn't been sharp lately, Ace. They lost 2 in a row. They almost lost 2 in a row to TCU, including both home and away. We're able to pull one out at Fog Allen. Do you think what's the concern level for you, I guess, with Kansas? Do you feel like this is a team that's just kind of waiting to crest into the postseason? Or are we just seeing a little bit of issues trying to get Remy Martin back in the lineup, some McCormick up and downs? How do you evaluate the Jayhawks right now?
Yeah, I am a little concerned. I think just because of the fact that, you want to be playing your best basketball at this point in time in the year. And at this point in time, they're not playing bad basketball, but they're not at their best and they're not clicking at the level that you usually see Bill Self's team clicking at this point in time in the year. I think Texas is a team, like, obviously they've been up and down all year. They haven't lived up to the expectations that we had coming into the year, but that team is talented, man, and they are feisty, man. I think, obviously, I don't expect Kansas to lose. They've only lost one time at home all year. Now it's Kentucky, and Texas is not Kentucky. So I don't expect them to lose, but I do think that Texas can make this, can keep this game close. And I think if you're Kansas, man, I think the big thing that you have to do is just try to get guys healthy, which, at this point in time of the year, nobody's really healthy on any of these teams. But for the most part, man, I think if you can close out with a big home win, head to the Big 12 tournament with some momentum, I think that'll be the best case scenario for those guys at this point in time.
All right. So yes or no, are either of you worried about Baylor at home against Iowa State?
No, they just don't have enough offense to go and beat Baylor, especially in Waco. I mean, they scored less than 40 points.
Yeah, so 36-point Iowa State, you don't think they have enough offense?
No, I mean, they just can't shoot the basketball. Their best offense is an Isaiah Brockington mid-range jumper that may or may not be contested. He's their only consistent source of offense. So I just can't see them really competing. Maybe they slow Baylor down a little bit, but they're not going to be able to score with them.
I won't lie, I love Brockington's game, though. Like, I love his game. I don't know. Listen, that man's going to make a lot of money playing basketball one day.
He was on fire for like a 5-game stretch. I think it was 24 points a game on 57% shooting. Kind of that train ran out of gas in their last game against Oklahoma State. But we know he has that gear. We could see it against Baylor. And Baylor has lost at home twice this season, Texas Tech and Oklahoma State. So it's no gimme there for the Bears. They got to bring their A game, especially if LJ Cryer is not back.